Yeah, I started to record. Yeah.
So guys, Chris is he's a mentor of mine, and he's a bit of a genius worker with the body and with consciousness. And he actually has many talents, but just for the to make this productive, we're gonna keep it on like energy in the body, okay? And I'm leaving it quite open as well, so because Chris will expand on this and everything that we can do. So guys, Chris has been a mentor of mine for 3 years. We share the same teachers, Arthur Solstice and Maestro Manuel Rufino. And Chris was like, you know, the nerdy kid at the top of the class. He was like really good, and he's got his homework really good. And I asked Chris to tutor me to bring me up to speed. And he's been like, he's really good at it. But during the day, Chris is a physiotherapist, and he's really good at it. And like one of the reasons like why I'm bringing Chris here to you today is he's only the second person I brought to speak to you guys. I had a lot of energy trapped, and what it did was it was trapped in the lower centers of the body. So it just meant I used to think about food and sex all the time. I just used to think about food and sex all the time. And because of that, I couldn't really reach my potential because there wasn't much room for thinking left over. And within 2 sessions with Chris, I'd gotten 90% of my thinking capacity back. So it's on that basis that I'm bringing Chris to you here today. And I'm going to hand over to Chris in just 1 minute. Chris, some people, they might come a little bit late. The session is recorded. Some people just couldn't make the time, but there'll be a few people here. But as Diane and Vanita are the ones here, as in, you know, if any questions come up, and doubtless they will. Yeah, we'll have some live Q&A. As in, there's some people at home who couldn't make it, Chris, unfortunately. But you know, Chris will also be showing this video again in the future to new people who join my meditation group and my heart healing group. And as you know, the group is about helping women reconnect to their hearts. So anything on that topic would be much welcome. So thank you, Chris. I'm handing over to you, and I'm going to mute. And guys, sit back, enjoy, have a notepad ready, because Chris has some really clever stuff.
Thank you, Patrick, for the introduction. And it's a really pleasure to go together. As you said, we are doing this work from this at least 3 years. And so what is important to acknowledge, the body is a projection of the soul, and this is energetical storage of things and manifestation, how you approach life from the perspective of the energy, and whatever is happening in your body is related with your experience, and it may stuck there, especially when you are deeply attracted, emotionally speaking, to some stuff, like in Patrick's case was the food and sex. He was deeply attracted to things, and he numbed himself by these 2 things, but there is much more of that. So first thing which is worth to acknowledge is the simple truth that everything is connected with everything, in the body and in the mind as well, and in the soul on the deepest level. So whenever you have some feelings in the body, some pain or sensitivity or restriction, it's related with your restriction in your mind. And different parts of the body represent different parts of the mind, and it's very important to not mix the brain as an organ with the mind as something wider and more let's say, abstractive. The brain is an organ which is part of the nerve system, which is very important, but mind is the way how the signals in the brain are put it to the abstract of thinking, and it's interconnected. So in other way as well, you affecting your body by your thinking. It's not only how you think about yourself and how you feel yourself, but also it's about how you think about others and about the world in general. So when we're working with the body, we can release so-called patterns because our body have a great mechanism which I love, which is called compensation. Do you know what is compensation? No.
When something takes over because it's lacking in other areas, or?
Yes, it's part of this. The compensation is the easiest example of it is when you have a small stone in your shoe, but it's too small to remove it, but too big to not feel it. So you trying to put your feet in different way in your shoe, and when you walk longer, it became your pattern. And if you have a distort or damaged shoe somehow, you still want to use it, you create a new pattern of walking, which is good in this moment because it allows you to walk, but it doesn't recognize the long-term changes in the body. And the same is in thinking, in the way how your mind is working. When you started to think about something and you continuously go with this, you adapt your whole system, emotional system, your physical system to this thinking, and you don't see what will bring, what kind of outcome it will bring after a few years or many years of this way. Even after a while, you will drop this way of thinking, but it might stuck in the physical system. There is something what we called fascia or myofascia. This is a connective tissue. This is one of the tissue which is bring to awareness in the medical world from like 15 years. It's really expand the knowledge about this connective tissue and way to treat it and way to maintain it. But the truth is, the knowledge is come from early years of previous century. The main recognized worker and the person who published most books and things how to work and maintain it was Ida Rolf, but she was focused on the mechanical stuff. The funny story is she was one of the first women in the UK which passed the orthopedic medical university, but UK was too conservative to acknowledge her as a woman who is doing operation and things. So she needed to move her work to US. And she developed Rolfic Institute in US, which is operating still and is a great place. But based on this, there is few students of this institute who developed even further. One of them is Tom Mayers, who was my direct teacher for some period, and he taught me a lot about the fascia and how to treat it. Another guy is Thieu Loa, who is still operating, and he's leading advanced training. It's a organization, worldwide organization, which is giving a training for the body workers and for massage therapies or all kinds of therapies. They start to be more and more open for people who doesn't have a very deep academic uh, base, because they start to acknowledge if you have this academic base of knowledge, it's harder for the person to overcome standard way of thinking about things, because the way how we were trained, I passed the university, medical university, and I was trained to treat muscle, joint, and thing, but there was missing part of it. The missing part, it was link between the emotional body and the soul. This is also I really often joking. I hope I don't insult anyone, but I joking from the psychiatry is this most dumb part of the medical treatment, because they treating soul without acknowledge existing of soul. So it's like, you know, funny thing.
Mhm.
On top of this, you can add the knowledge from the ancient, um so the knowledge about the chakra system, the knowledge about nadis, meridians, and things like that. It was the great connection what was done by Tom Mayers, acknowledge meridians, a relationship of meridians to the fascial system. So you probably heard about meridians according to the Chinese medicine and acupuncture, eventually reflexology. Uh, but the common knowledge about this is about the most, the biggest meridian, let's say, the most popular, like a liver meridian, heart meridian, or something like this. But there is much, much more of that. And it's called nadis. So nadis, there are energetical centers in the body. They are placed in different places, and the trick with nadis is they are in a different place for different person. It's not like you can directly measurement it. So for the classic medical environment, it's really difficult to treat it because it's hard to put the standards. You know, it's a 5 centimeter from the nose to the left. There is nadis, which we call some nadis 36, let's say. It's really difficult because it might be a little bit higher, a little bit lower. It's different because all system is different. We need to acknowledge our body is created from the mix of DNA, our ancestors. In our body, we carry mostly DNA of our parents, but in truth, it's around 7 generations in past. And in this 7 generation also, they passing to us their emotional stuff, because emotions affecting the way how the DNA is looking like. So your DNA is some kind of sum of the DNA of your 7 generations in the past. So it's good to acknowledge your ancestors and be aware what they come through and what kind of life they had. So for example, Patrick's situation, Irish guy, there was a great hunger in Ireland. You know that
Potato
from the
farm.
history. So this part of issue with hunger was flare up because it was in his DNA. His ancestors suffered from the hunger. And when he was around abundance of food, he couldn't, how to say it, it was overwhelming him. He had so much access And on the other hand, there was deep fear it might disappear. So maybe it's better to use now because maybe again hunger will come. And this is a error of the system, which was passed to Patrick by his ancestors. For example, from my personal life, my ancestors went through 2 world wars because my basic is Polish. So I had this fear against the Germans, even though I speak it in German and I like German people in general. I like people in general. It doesn't matter who they are, but there was something in it. I felt stiff around straight away. And I was studied in my DNA what is happening. So the main important information from that topic is you can change your DNA by yourself and heal the stuff which was passed to you to stop passing it further. Because even it might not affect your life in terms of your physical life, it might affect your future generation. And also, it is the way how it's affecting how you perceive the world. The funny story about this, when there is a situation and it's 3 people around the situation, they observe the same situation, and you will ask them after a week about this situation, you will most likely receive 3 different stories. It's about the filters, how we see things and how we hear things. It's not what is really happening, but it's what we are able to see by our filters, our fears, our patterns of receiving people. So, for example, I was on the road and on some journey, and we met a person who was really crampy and unnice, doesn't helpful. And a week later, I spoke with my friend from training, and I said about the situation. I'm so compassionate to the person, and it was so poor. And my friend, why? The person doesn't want to help us. He was abusing us. I said, no, no, it wasn't like this. The person didn't control itself. Probably it was in the pain or some kind of tiredness because he didn't rest properly. You need to see what is the reason. The reason it was lack of connection with the heart and with love. Because if person is connected to the heart, connected to the love, will always behave in the way to help people and with kindness. And this comes sometimes from the fears as well, because person is in the fear, so it's trying to push other people away from itself. But it's a deep fear. It's not driving by the anger or negativity. Always behind the anger is a fear. So it's good to study it. And then when you perceive it in this way, you are not taking it personally. So it's not creating a tension in you. Because the worstest thing what we developed is revenge. Someone is acting in some certain way towards us, so we want the revenge. I will show him. You know that feeling from your life?
Yeah.
And it creates a lot of tension in the physical system because you become tensed and sometimes you pushing yourself more than it's needed. To release this tension is the best and the simplest tool is a breath, which you have always with you. As long as you are operating in this realm, in the physical body, breath is with you. So the good practice for the morning is to start the morning from the breathing. Deep breath. But the deep breath is, I mean about this, to breathe in the way to take air to your belly, to very bottom of your belly, to your pelvis. So when you take in breath, you need to move your belly out. And when you take in out breath, you need to take your belly in as deep as possible. And this is the full exchange of the air in the system. And also it's a release of the energy from the night and taking energy of the day to your system. Because physically speaking, if you have a lack of oxygen in your body, there is harder to operate. In general, the simple truth is human being is lazy. We like to be lazy. Oh my god. And the way to develop the laziness is to develop patterns which are using as less energy as is possible. But if you carry tension from the previous day, from the night, then you're starting from the certain level of using energy. You're not starting from the lower part, you're starting from a certain level. It depends where you are in your life. So it's better to read it off to get it down as much as is possible, because then you will have more energy for the day. Other thing is water. We are mostly built from the water. You know that, yes? So they say it's 80, 90%, different stories. But the truth is, it depends what kind of population they tested. More indigenous population they tested, there more water was in the system. In the city environment and people who are sitting, don't walking too much, there is less water. It's simple like this. So it's good to have a glass of water in the morning. You can add some lemon juice. There are different schools about it, but the main goal is to drink the water. And also before you go sleep, it's good to drink water, because intervertebral discus, this is a small part, a soft tissue between the bones of the spine, which are called vertebrae, is built in 99% from the water. So when you're lying down and the body is resting, it doesn't matter if you're lying on the side or if you're lying on the back or on the front, it doesn't matter. But then the pressure of the air, it doesn't press you so much. So this is the moment when intervertebral discus can absorb water easier. But if it doesn't have it in the system, what it can absorb? And the most damaging thing is alcohol in the evening. When you're drinking alcohol, it's deeply dehydrate system. And when you're sleeping, you don't have this water, so it becomes sticky. Does this make sense? The same rule is applied to the level of the sugar in the diet. You can imagine a simple situation. Take a glass of water and imagine yourself, you are this glass. And then add 2 or 3 spoons of sugar, white sugar, mix it, and splash it on the table. Wait until it will dry. What will happen?
It's sticky.
Exactly. So it's the same when you don't control the level of the sugar in your diet, you created the stickiness of your system. There is no fluent movement of the water because your water became sticky. And it creates limitation of arrangement of movement. And then it creates all kinds of disease like joint disease or nerve system and so on, so on. So there's two simple solutions for that. First is be mindful and reduce the level of the sugar in the diet. It's not like you cannot eat anything sweet. Don't be dogmatic. If you like it from time to time, it's okay, but you need to be aware. And the trick in this is mind is convinced you are aware. But in truth, when you take one muffin, you end up with 3 muffins. You know that from your life? So it's better to do the checklist as a part of the daily routine, especially when you learn to control. Just have a checklist and mark on the checklist how much sweetness you add in the day, and it will give you a simple picture what is really happening. But you need to be honest with yourself. And the other solution is to drink water, because when you're drinking coffee, you need to understand coffee is the greatest poison which is easily available in all kind of shops. Why it's affecting system like you are awake or in the alarm system, alarm mode operating? Because it's a poison. When you taking it to the system, your whole organs trying to get it out as soon as possible. That way you have this situation when you drink coffee, oh, it's calling you to toilet. You know it? Did you notice it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that way it's hard to control as well coffee, because when you drink it one and then suddenly after a week you end up with drinking 5 a day because you believe it is giving you energy. It's completely opposite. It's stealing energy from your system, because you need to do a lot by the physical body to get it out. So you use more energy than you will use to do your daily routines, what you have to do. So coffee might be medicine as well, but if it's prepared in certain way, so when it is cooked, it's very strong and then very sweet, and you drink one and you don't want to drink anymore because it's so strong and you feel so shamed by this, so no way. Sometimes when you are in a long traveling or you're driving or something, it might be good to use it, but it's better to prepare by yourself. Don't buy it somewhere, Starbucks or wherever, where you can buy in the coffee shop. There is never this kind of coffee. This is water with coffee, which is designed to enslave you with the coffee. And the other thing with coffee is it's affecting liver really deeply. So it increases the anger issue, because the liver is the organ which is storage energy of the anger. So when you're drinking a lot of coffee, you are most like to have an anger. It might be out loud anger, so you anger to the people and you express yourself with your anger. But sometimes, which is more difficult, is inward anger, which is creating arthritis, for example, or immunology disease, because you like to control yourself with your anger to the people, so you angry with yourself. It depends on the construct of the mind, how you are construct. So you're trying to be polite. I really love this English politeness. But in truth, most likely it's not real. It's deep blockages of the emotional expression. People are behave in the way it's supposed to be, politically correct. We all love everyone and smiling. And yeah. You know that from your
Mhm.
life? Did you notice it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to control it in certain moments, to control yourself and behave in this way when it's not possible to express things, but it's better to build boundaries, proper boundaries, but it's more Catholic work to explain how to do it. And then you can act with kindness and true politeness without damaging yourself. Because what is happening, most people then, if they are falsely polite, they going to drink some alcohol because they need to numb. Oh, I need to relax, numb myself. It was a difficult day. Why is difficult day? You were smiling whole day. What was difficult? Or you use the mask of the smile. You know that from your life?
Mhm.
You were saying, oh, day, but at the end of the day, you're sitting and, oh, I'm so tired. It was a difficult day. Because you don't release your emotions. And these emotions are also stick in the body. And there are certain places where they most likely are stored. And tissue, which is the biggest storage of emotion, is a fat. Because by own capacity, and it's also related with the food. When you eat and you're in negative emotional state, you're passing this state to the food. And when you are taking food or the drink, water, wherever it is, with negativity, it's storage in your body. So it's also important if you are using some restaurant or takeaway to notice where you're eating, how people are prepared the food. If they are slave in their work and they're doing like, oh my god, again pizza, or they enjoy what they do. It's based again on the water because water is a sound sensitive, and we are as made from the water mostly also sound sensitive. It might be out loud sound, but it might be sound of your mind. All of you had that situation when you heard this voice in your head, haven't you?
Mhm.
Uh, this voice is affecting your internal water as well.
Mhm.
So whenever it's talking something, it is affecting your whole system. So important is to spend some time in silence, because if you want to regenerate, really regenerate your system, it's regenerating when you are in silence from the outside world. And with time, with meditation and work, what you're doing with Patrick, you will learn how to calm down this voice inside. Back to the body and the chakra system. I was very septic for years because of my background, academic background. And then I started to study it by myself to place the chakra on the body map. And it's so simple. There are places where in the body are glands, hormonal glands, which release certain substance, chemical substance to the body. We can see it in this way. But there is something deeper, what we are usually not aware, which is called emotional body. It's not exactly the physical body, but it's deeply affecting physical body. And there is something which is called astral body, which is something wider. It includes emotional body and the physical body as well. So, for example, if you sometimes met the people who are coming to the room and they are so magnetic, straight away everyone are notice them. They don't do noise around themselves. They just went in and everyone is know the person is there. Did you notice something like that
Mhm.
in your life? This is a person who have a strong astral body. It might be aware, usually person is aware of that. Is doing some training with the consciousness. There are different ways of the training, but it's not the place to talk about this. The best for the person and for the energy in the system is to be aware when you are around someone and you started to feel funny. It means your borders are not strong enough to be separated from the other human beings. So if you feel funny, just step aside. Don't go there. The funny thing is, very often we are attracted to this. We feel funny with someone, but we go there. You have that feeling?
Mhm.
You have some friends who you know they don't serve you too much, but being around them is not serving your life, but somehow it's attractive. And this is addiction from the suffering, which is the deep case in our energetical system. Until we are not rid of addiction from the suffering, it's really hard to gain our own energy back and to release it. In terms of body, it's important to move the body. We are created to walk. We're supposed to walk, not run. Sometimes running is okay if it's needed, not lying down, not sitting all day. But it's what is happening in our society. We sit a lot. Like God bless me a lot. What is what is doing with the system? Uh, hip flexors are became short, and when you're trying to stand up to gain extension in your back and hips, became more and more difficult. To this, all other parts of the system adjust. So you lose control of your bottom because when you're sitting, you're squeezing your bottom all the time, and your bottom become weaker and weaker and weaker, and it cannot resist to the hip flexors on the end of the day. When you stand up and walk, you create positive interaction between flexion and extension in the hip, and it's affecting the lower back as well. And it's allowed to have a physiological flow of the energy in the pelvis, which is the place where the base root chakra. Did you heard about the root chakra? Are you familiar with this? So, root chakra is a chakra which is dealing, let's say, dealing with fears, survival instincts, and all kind of imaginate needs, and also sexual stuff. But in truth, sacral chakra, so the second one, is more important for the sexual stuff. But you need to overcome first root chakra to really touch it. Because before that, you are all the time on the influence of the root chakra. So when you are sitting a lot and you are squeezing your pelvis and your hip flexor are tight, the fluids in the system not flow there, and the emotional system is not working properly, and it's increasing the fears. Try to think about things what you are fear of, and what of them were really true situation, and how much story you create around this. Do you see it in your life? They are a phantom of the mind, created by the mind. And because of root chakra doesn't work properly, you cannot overcome it. You don't see the truth. And you starting to create stories, scenario, and things how to be. But there is simple thing about the making decision. There are always few ways, usually two, in a certain moment. You just need to make decision and follow your decision. But the mind like to keep you in this way. You thinking about, oh, but if I will choose the other one, what will be happen? And you created blah 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 mind stories, aren't you?
I definitely do.
So if you if you make a decision, you will never know the outcome of the other way. It's impossible to know it. But because you start to thinking about this, it creates instability in the energetical system. Because you spend energy for something which is completely not important and irrational for the system. This makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So then, usually lower back is related with this feeling of instability. Whenever you have instability of the finance, of your family situation, of your work, or a lot of stress related with which decision to make, you start to have a tension in your lower back. Can you notice it in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You had that situation, and then you became angry because, oh my God, I have to do this and that. I'm in a hard situation, difficulties, and on top of it, I have a back pain. What's more will come? Well, it's a result of your not resolved problems, and it's really important to notice it. It's just like you are on the edge because it's too much for the system. It's a red lamp in the car. Do something. Don't get stuck. Go somewhere with things. But because the mind like to keep you in, oh, this or that, poor me, what is happening to me, and you in truth don't do work what you need to do, and the energy is stuck there. And then you started to do x-rays, MRIs, and things like that, and trying to find what is wrong with the system, physically speaking. And they give you some painkillers, and they're trying to cure your pain. But this is the most important error of modern medicine: curing pain. We need to understand pain is a really positive symptom of something is going on. And we need to sit and considering what is happening with the whole system. But as we are trained in this way as a medical specialist, we're trying to cure place where is the pain. And we are not acknowledge the mental states of person, and we are not acknowledge the real reasons. And the real reasons of the pain, usually, if there is no accident or recent injury, the real reason is the stack of the energy in the system somewhere. It not need to be in the place where you have the pain. Because you can imagine a situation when you twisting your knee too much to inward, then your hip is going outward. Then it's affecting the way how the hip is cooperating with your pelvis. And because from the lower back there are come out the nerve roots, they are sensitive to changes. So relationship between the pelvis and your lower back is changed as well. So you start to have a lower back pain. And you're starting to treat your lower back, and you're trying to put all kind of evidence there is something wrong with your lower back, but in truth you don't see the whole picture, what is going on with your whole system. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
And from the perspective of the psychology of the body, knee is related with making a step forward. And psychologically speaking, you are afraid to do the step forward. And you create something which is called lower back pain to have excuses to not make it. Oh, I will do it, but now I have a back pain and I cannot do it. When I will be healed, then I will do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Mhm.
It's like this.
Mm.
Because we're trying to postpone decisions and actions, then we're creating situation to have excuses. The way to maintaining is to have a simple walks outside. Just the body needs walking. Half an hour in one row. It not need to be, like a fast walk. Just walk according to your possibilities in the moment where your system is now. And it's good to do some stretching because flexibility is also helpful. So some kind of yoga, Pilates, or whatever is there available. But the best way is to go somewhere, to find the teacher and to do the class, but the proper class. It's good to check how you feel with this guy or this person, and if it's able to adjust program to you, or you are in the corporation situation like a pure gym or whatever gym situation, it's 30 people and teacher is not able to see you because it's so crowded. There is very few teacher, like very few teachers who I know, and I know them many, who are able to do really proper class for more than 15 people. So where is the overcrowded class and you are beginner, it's hard to really get what you're supposed to get there. The true flexibility and the positions. Because when you go into yoga and you're doing it wrongly, you create more compensation and more problems in the physical system. And parts of my patients are coming and they complain, what are you talking about, the flexibility? I was in the yoga for half a year and it will start to be more painful than before. It's where you choose the yoga. It wasn't a proper situation for you. So the way to increase the energy in the system and to get the better flow is to transcend body. And flexibility is one of the transcendentation of the body. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
So the other way is a diet. Also, we recommend to go more to the vegetarian and vegan diet. And I was experimenting on myself for years, and I see how it's changed my energy and how it's changed the way how my body is operating. But I know it's not easy for the beginning, especially if you are used to for years to eating in certain way. So it's better to do slow steps than you making a hard decision, and after a week or two you fed up and you back to old patterns and create more situation. So if you are able to go in this way, it's good to go there, but to do it mindfully. And then partially can probably find someone who can guide you how to do it. We working with a few people, Joa Gazda, with Dominika Roszko. There are people who are nutrition specialists and they know how to do it.
And Chris, can I just interject?
Yes.
Guys, and I'm not fanatic about this at all, but as in changing to vegetarianism completely changed my meditations. From training with Chris and our teachers, you can eventually see the link, like when you become really in tune with your energetic emotional body, the link between the animals and fear, anger, aggression, and anxiety. So but it's just for something for you to feel yourself. So I don't push it, as in if I don't even, if you eat vegetarian, cool. If not, no worries. But if you would like to learn, because philosophically, one of my teachers, Swamiji, talks about vegetarianism or people eating meat for the 5 seconds that it's on their tongue and how amazing it tastes. So taste is very important for us if we do want to become vegetarian for meditational peace, inner peace purposes. And there's things like Gusto or Hello Fresh, and you can get delicious vegetarian meals. And the way to look at it is, it's a distance learning cooking course, and it's an adventure that you're getting to learn how to cook delicious vegetarian food. You don't always have to do it, but you get the recipes and you educate yourself. Because from working with Chris and our teachers, that's what helped me be vegetarian and helped my meditations go to the next level. However, I needed the food to taste amazing, because I just like.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick, for that. It's again what I said about the water and absorbing vibration. Meat is other living being, which is created from the water mostly as well, and it's have its own emotional system. Even we are convinced by the all kind of religious movements, human are something much better than other beings on this world. And then when they are produced, because farming is not this what we had the image, there are some happy cows walking on the fields and things like that. It's, my God, this is an industry like you don't want to see it. And then there is a fear of death before it's killed, and it's all storage in this meat. And you eat it, and you transform it to your system. And because we are on a certain level of consciousness, we are not aware of it, and we're buying it as it's our. But it's not our. It was taken from the cow, vegetarian cow. So it's really, really changing things. And it's important. Do you have some questions?
I've got a few questions.
Yes.
So you were saying about fear, that fears come from the mind, and so we have to work on our mind. But also, would something like clearing out the root chakra, would that also help in releasing those fears in the first place?
Yes, yes. So the way to uh, help to clean the root chakra is to gain flexibility of your pelvis, to get the
Okay.
movements there. And there are certain foods which are recommended to the root chakra, like for example, juice from beetroots.
Okay.
Okay, and there is much more, but I think Patrick is able to get someone more expertise in these foods things.
Sure.
And also the meditation,
Mm.
which is focused on the root chakra, the work with the body. Uh, there is something which is called craniosacral therapy, for
Oh,
example.
yeah.
But the problem with this is there's many therapies, but I'm not sure how many of them they know what they're doing.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to be mindful with when you choose therapy. In general, you need to be mindful when you choose all kind of therapy, even the massage, with who you're doing it, because when the person is touching you, anyway, is sending some kind of energy to you,
Mm.
and you absorbing it. You are aware of it or not aware, but you are absorbing it. So technically speaking, there is not such a thing like a technical skills. This is important, but more well, I know the very skillful people, technically speaking, but they don't control their mind, and by this they don't have effects with the clients
Okay.
or limited effects. The
Sure.
limitation is the client is feeling really deeply in the system, physically speaking, something is going on, but afterwards, when he get out from the treatment room, after a few hours, it's back to the same or even worse. Because there is no pure mind in the act of the therapy. So, yeah, this is like this. So, the school, like anatomy trains, for example, on a certain level, they really, really deeply taking care about this. And
Mm.
they pressing students to do work over themselves and work with the mind. But the craniosacral can help with these techniques.
Mm.
Acupuncture can help.
Mhm.
There are certain uh, herbs from the Chinese medicine as well, which can help. So there's a few things what you can do with this, and definitely the sound. So where you can go for the crystal balls, for example,
Mm.
sound bath or gongs, but with gongs it's still tricky. Crystal balls are, I think, more effective because all crystal balls are tuned to the sound of the chakra.
Okay. Right.
Okay, and when the person is performing on the crystal ball, which is tuned to the sacral chakra, to the root chakra, it's affecting it. If
Oh.
the person is not singing, is no way to. There's a small possibilities to negative effects. So if person is singing, usually is the person which is trained to do it. Because most likely people who are performing meditation with the crystal balls, they are not singing.
Okay.
Okay, because to perform mantra, you need to have a really good training with things.
Mm.
You can perform mantras for yourself. There are certain mantras. There are sounds like lam, lam, lam. It's a mantra. It's available everywhere for the root chakra. So you can do it by yourself, but because your throat chakra, fifth chakra, I mean, is
Mm.
not fully developed, it will not affect you fully.
Okay.
So, for example, in our lineage, which is called initiatic lineage, is not allowed to perform Om before enlightenment of the first chakra.
Hmm.
That might be danger
Okay.
for the person who is performing and for the people who are around, because it's not the clear sound of the Om, and it's bringing confusion in the mind. It's more confusion than enlightenment.
Hmm.
But there is, for example, beautiful chakra, a beautiful mantra on the YouTube, which is called "I'm beautiful, I'm bountiful." It will be the first one which you can reach in the YouTube, which
Okay.
is really nice for the morning for calm down the situation with the first chakra, with the root chakra. It's completely for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Do you have more questions?
I've done that. With the coffee, is decaffeinated coffee okay or still poison?
Still poison.
Okay.
It's better than the caffeine, but it's affecting the liver anyway.
Yeah.
Because the chemical process of changing the structure, and liver is a big chemical laboratory. And when you're taking these chemicals to your body, your liver needs to do work to get it out or change the structure in the way it's possible to get it out. So you can imagine they make a test, and 200 milliliters cup of coffee, if they want to change it in the way to be really easy to digest and get it out from the system, in the laboratory, the typical laboratory, it was taking 48 hours.
Wow.
So what your liver need to do, how much work, and it's dealing with other substance, because the coffee is one substance, and then you're taking a donut with some jam and whatever. And it's very busy.
Yeah, that's true.
When it's too busy and it cannot make it work properly, you became angry. Because it's trying too much. And then you lose your energy. You're tired.
And Vinita, from when Chris and I started training
Sorry,
together,
my connections went down then properly. Sorry, I was very good.
I was just saying when Chris and I started training together and with our teachers, as in coffee fell off quite quickly, but it took 18 months to clean up my system to like, as in now I can't, and like no desire to drink decaf. So it does feel 80% better in terms of things, but it's like Chris says, it still has an effect.
Yeah.
It's not truly, there's not zero caffeine in it. It does angry up the system.
Cool.
So from example, for my personal experience,
True.
I was developed and grow up in the world of the professional soldiers and the army, and I was really sharp and quick with things and really determined. But and I could sleep a very little amount, but it was based on the anger. So when I read off coffee and I start to slowly control things, I still have a lot of energy, but it's coming from the different space. Okay, do you have some questions?
Thank you. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Thank you, Chris, what you said. And I can relate to it because I don't know if you've heard of it. I do the body code, which is an energy medicine.
I heard something about it.
Yeah, so I understood everything you were saying because that was in my training too. So I just wanted to say thank you, really. Yeah.
Pleasure. It's a big topic.
Yeah.
I would like to ask Patrick for the future. We can arrange another date for doing things and go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There is much more to say about this. We just touch a one part,
Yeah.
and this part there is much more things, and there's whole system. It's all is related, but for our intellect and in terms of education, it's better to go step by step to not confuse too much.
Yeah.
I think this is the way the mind can catch it easier. It's like this.
Yeah.
The one, because I will need to finish quickly. So the one important thing to acknowledge also is every chakra has other chakra in itself. So as I said, everything is interconnected. So when you're working on the root chakra, you are in the same way working on the rest of the chakras.
Mm.
And when you have a fully developed first chakra, root chakra, it is affecting other chakras as well. And it's changing the system. And what is happening, how you can recognize it for yourself, it's your relationship with the simple instincts, like the sexual instinct, survival instinct. Because, sexual instinct is the simplest survival instinct. It's created to put further our seeds. So we need it to go further with life on the earth, to create body for another soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's implemented in the human body. So it's a very good thing, but we need to control it.
Mm-hmm.
The same is with the fear. You can check how you approach situations which make a fear in you in the past. Then you will know where you are to check yourself. So imagine it, you are afraid of spiders, and when you're doing the work, meditation and things, and you're going somewhere, and you again met the spider, the same size, which was creating a deep fear in you a few years ago, and now you see, oh, okay, spider is there, I'm not like it, but I'm not in anxiety or something, then you know you overcome something.
Mm-hmm.
Or you approaching the shelf in the store and there is food, a lot of food, but you feel like, okay, I'm not hungry and I just need this and that for my dinner, and I'm not interested in the other ones. So you are somewhere with these things. Isn't it like that, Patrick, with you?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, guys, the training, it's slow, but it's so worth it. And when you understand that you're eternal, you think that you put it in perspective. That the training you're doing now, even if you're feeling patient, it actually is going very fast.
The most important thing is to be patient to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the most difficult stuff for us. We are impatient because mind is impatient. It's trying to all the time keep us busy and convince us we're losing time and whatever. Because mind is losing time. But you as internal beings, you don't lose that. You just gain the experience of things. But it's easy to say it, but it's much more difficult to go with it.
I think sometimes the more work you do, the more work you bring out to be done.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Because
my experience.
you became more aware,
Yeah.
and you see things which you weren't able to see before. And you realize where you are really. So it looks like it's more work to do.
Yeah.
But then the teachers say, the true student really like challenges.
Hmm.
If he approach challenge, he's happy because he know it will lead him to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of frustrated students because they don't see instant results, and
Yeah,
then
but
there's always a new hurdle to overcome.
we are created, or we are, let's say, developed in the culture which is based on instant things.
Mm.
We want straight away, and the deep beliefs, if you have the money, you have everything.
Hmm.
This is the deepest lie.
Everything but happiness.
Yeah, it's completely out of the truth.
Guys, we've had Chris till 2:20, as in we got to give him back to his family on the Sunday afternoon. Chris, thank you so much on behalf of all of us. It's fantastic, like a really. So guys, I've been hearing this for several years now, but it was incredible to hear it all in one place.
Mhm.
So guys, like, you don't know the treat that you got, as in, because I've never heard Chris put it together in one place. And Chris, if you'd like to come back, we'd love to have you. And so guys, if you'd like to do some work with Chris, and I recommend you do, if you've got budget for it, I recommend you do. You can meet Chris at, he's based in Ruislip Manor. His company's called Manual Med, and they do lots of very beautiful events. It's well priced. And maybe if you have private health insurance, like I have, like most of the year, I run a lot of my work through that. So as in it's whatever it is, guys, it's always worthwhile. If anything Chris said resonated with you, and as in it resonated with me, I'll be booking my session after tomorrow. But Chris is a real life Jedi. We train together nearly every Saturday, and sometimes Fridays included, and Sundays. So yeah, guys, let's give Chris a big thank you.
Mhm. Thank you.
guys.
Thank you so much. That was very interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Pleasure to share.
And thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Chris. And thank you to all the teachers which transmitted this knowledge to us that we get to share. And guys, the biggest thing is to pass on the knowledge. Like, that's how we, like, you know, when you guys come to meditation with me, I'm just passing on what Chris gave me and teachers gave me, and that's all. And that's how we pay it forward. That's how we pay the teachers back. So guys,
It's the only way to carrying the work forward. So I'm grateful for have this opportunity to share wherever it was shared with me, to give you guys make changes and to guide you with the changes, because no one will heal you. Only you can heal yourself and do the work. No one will train you. You can train yourself. We just can remind things and show, but you need to take it. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much for this organization and for your work, what you're doing. I'm deeply, deeply happy to see how you grow, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. So guys, lots of love. We'll catch you soon. And for you guys at home, this lecture took place on the 1st of March in 2020. And at this time of recording, Chris is based in London, in West London, and open for business. And I recommend him all the time. Thank you guys, and enjoy your Sunday. Take care.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.